Okay, I'm kind of falling asleep, but I'm kind of bored, so I thought I'd show you how to add paperclip. And I found that same image that you had. It's really small. I think it's somebody's avatar. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm zooming in with my mid mouse wheel. Somewhere in your preferences, edit, preferences, I completely forgot, is zooming with your mid mouse wheel. But you could also use Control plus to zoom in and Control minus to zoom out. So I'm going to zoom in to about there. Now what we're going to have to do is imagine this, I guess that's his hood or neckline. We'll just call it his neckline. It's coming here, curving here, so it's going to come like this and back to here. I don't even know what this part is. It could be part of his shirt. I don't know, maybe it's the boat motor. I don't really know what that is, but we're gonna get rid of this it's a blue color thing right there. We'll just get rid of that because I believe his shirt should come something like that, and we'll be filling in this whole region with what should be the inside of his shirt. Okay, I press Control D to deselect that. Now, I'm just going to do this really fast with a polygonal lasso tool. This is your polygonal lasso. You have your regular lasso, you have magnetic lasso. There's other ways to cut out things, but I'm just going to use this. When you're cutting things out, I want to cut along this gray thing, but you don't want to include, I just call them yuckies. The actual term is anti-aliasing. You don't want to do this to cut it out because it's going to leave a weird edge. You want to do this. You want to stay inside of it. So we're staying inside of these yuckies. And the way you use the polygonal lasso is you just pull, click, pull, click, pull, click, pull, click. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Now you got to be careful because like right now if I double click by accident, it's going to close this selection. And I'll show you that in just a second. So here, right here, we're just going to have to imagine, where that neckline is going to be. And actually that could be right, could be wrong. I don't know. But we're just going to select there. And if you notice, I just hang on a second. I'm pressing Control Z because I did something wrong. I just double clicked to close that. I did it super fast. You probably couldn't see. If you notice here for feathering, I have a 1 pixel feather. That's generally what I work with. Now I could see here it doesn't look right in this region, so I'm going to press Alt and kind of go like that and deselect that. I don't know. Oops. I'm messing up all over the place. Control Z to undo. That looks a little more natural. Maybe just a little bit more on the inside. Double click to close. Okay, so now we have our selection that we're going to fill in on his neck region. And to do that, I'm just going to do something really, really cheesy. I'm going to duplicate this layer. And you can duplicate it by right-clicking, duplicate layer, and a lot of people drag it down to this icon right here, which does the same thing. And we're going to apply a mask. So you click the mask button here. Now I want to wiggle his clothes around. I want to use this part of his clothes to fill in the neck. So I want to click this to unlink the mask. And you'll see why you do that in just a second. Now I click on the image and I go to my move tool and I'm going to move this region into here. And that looks pretty good. Now I can lock it right here. And let me undo that for a second. Let me show you what would have happened if I didn't unlock it and move it. It's just going to move the whole thing. It moves this and this in unison because they're locked. So I unlocked it. Make sure you click on this. Don't click on that because it'll move the mask. Don't click over here because it'll do other things. Make sure you're clicked on this thumbnail and you just move it until it looks okay. I mean, I could actually do this, edit, free transform, and just kind of go like that to get maybe a better angle. You don't have to do that. Okay, so I'm going to lock this just so I don't mess up. And I'm going to click this button right here and go to curves, and I'm going to lighten it up. So in order to lighten things, I'm not going to give you a whole lesson on curves. This is your midtones, this is your highlights, and this is your shadows. So I'm just going to take the midtones and, oh, one more thing. Before I do that, I want to clip this. Click this button right here. That clips this curves to this layer. So I'm going to lighten that a little bit so it looks a little more natural. And then we're going to make another layer on top of the background. So as you see, we have the background and we have that. So on top of the background, I'm just going to make another layer and get our clone tool. Now with our clone tool, we want to make sure, let's see, for this, flow and opacity is 100, and we want to make sure that the brush is soft. This is a soft brush. I don't know if you can see that mark where it's kind of feathered on the edges, and this is a hard brush. Now you see how hard it is. So you don't want it hard, you want it super, super soft. Okay, what we want to do is take the horizon, and I'm clicking here on the horizon and left clicking with the mouse. And I just go like this. And I'm creating a horizon and clouds and water. And we're just filling in all this other junk. Okay, so I click here again on the horizon and I move over. And just clone this stuff in. This is really not the best form. I probably should clone in a little bit here to, well, maybe not there, to blend it in a little better. But now we have a rebuilt horizon. See, the horizon looks good. And we have an inside of the shirt. And now we need a paper clip. And I believe I have one already selected. Here we go. Paper clip. Take the paper clip, drag it to Photoshop, and drop it in the image. And we're going to resize this to approximately how big I think it should be. Okay, now we want this paper clip to be on top of the neck part. Let me call this neck or inside shirt. We want the paper clip to be on top of the inside of the shirt, but we want to mask it so it doesn't click there or doesn't show up here. So we'll use the polygonal lasso one more time, and we'll trace around here. Doesn't have to be perfect. And trace around here, and this is where we want the paper clip to show. So we click the mouse mask button, and there's the paper clip inside the head. Now we do the same thing. We unlink the mask, click on the paper clip, edit, free transform, and we can move that around and get our paper clip to our liking. Honestly, I don't know, but that's it. That's how you do it. So let me recap. I'm going to take everything off. Let me call this cloning. Okay, so we made our selection of the inside of the shirt or jacket or whatever it's called, and we put this part of the jacket in there, and we put a curves layer on it to lighten it. Then we clone, let me unselect that by Control D. Then we cloned this stuff. So right now we have a nice inside of a shirt, but we want to fill in the water and the sky. We want to get rid of his head. And that does it right there. And we put the paper clip inside. Hope that all makes sense.